In a world of increasing mental health challenges, psychology and faith can both provide tools for healing and wellness. This is the idea behind Journey on My Mind. Each episode, our panel of pastors and therapists sit down together to share their experiences and insights on the modern world's mental health issues: depression, loneliness, aging, addiction, and so much more. Join us now as we explore what it means to thrive at the complex intersection of spirit and psychology.
All right, welcome to the second half of So What Happened to Your Children? No, that's not what we're doing.
And begin, hold for editing, and begin again.
Journey on My Mind. So we were talking about parenting and
Parenting adult children.
Adult children, and how this has so many facets. You brought up so many different facets of it last time.
That was the challenge. There's a lot to talk about.
How do you navigate this in two shorts is really hard, but we're trying. But this time we're going to kind of get into this new phenomenon that is kind of happening a lot. Yeah. Where people are like, I'm done with you.
Cutting off their parents. Right. So it seems like it is a real thing. I will tell you, just from my job, just observationally, and from our team of clinicians, we have about 18 clinicians or so. Yeah. We are seeing this. We're seeing people come in, and I've done this job for 35 years, and I have a decent baseline of cultural things that at least show up in therapy. Mm-hmm. This wasn't a thing before. It is a thing all the time now. It routinely comes up. So
when you say people are coming in, the children are coming in or the parents are coming in?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Either or both. Okay. For different, either side of it. Yeah. Like my kid has cut me off. I don't know why, or what do I do? Or I've cut my parents off, or I want to, or that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to get a little bit on my soapbox. I will say, I think we need to ultimately land at a spot where there is a recognition that sometimes this does need to happen. So I want to put that out there first before we. Sometimes adult children need to create boundaries and distance with their parents for very good reasons. Yeah. So hold that thought as we get into this conversation, because I'm going to push against it a lot. Okay. So let me just give you a little bit of data here. There's a survey, and if you follow the trend here, this isn't just with parents, this is just with relationships in general. Okay. Yeah. 60% of Gen Z, the young adult generation, said that they had gone no contact with someone important in their life. 50% of millennials said it. 38% of Gen Xers said it, so roughly 40. So we're now 60, 50, 40. Yeah. And then 20% of baby boomers said it. Yeah, right. So if you see the
you see the progression, right?
When you see numbers change by 10% increments by generation, it's not a blip. Yeah. So there's something in the water. Yeah. There's something going on. So the movement, if you're not aware, is that young adults seem to be increasingly wanting to or willing to cut off their parents.
Yes. It's not vice versa. You're saying it's predominantly going child toward parent.
Predominantly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This isn't a two-way thing. It's not a parent like, I'm cutting my kid off. I mean, that's always been
a thing,
and it still is a thing. We're talking about the movement where someone's 24 and going, nope, I'm not gonna.
I'm done with them.
I'm done with them.
Okay.
And I will say that it is a movement on social media and YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, particularly TikTok, a little bit of Instagram up there, where influencers and people in my profession, therapists, are actually reinforcing this idea. Oh, and wow. Okay. The idea is that you don't owe your parents anything, and your first obligation is to your own happiness. Right. And it used to be that this whole thing was considered a failure or a tragedy. Like it's really sad to do this. Now it's seen as a point of growth it's seen as a good thing. Like you're sticking up for yourself and it's a good thing.
Wow.
Now, within that, this is where this gets really important. What you will hear in these conversations, and this is, again, I'm owning this as my high horse.
Okay.
Not everybody, even people that might end up on this panel would agree with me on this.
Okay.
But part of what's happening is you're going to hear the word trauma brought up.
Right.
And the problem with that is that trauma now has been expanded to cover everything. Right. Everything bad is trauma.
Yeah.
And historically, as a psychologist, trauma is not something unpleasant, disagreeable, bad.
Right.
Trauma is something that has threatened the integrity of your life, your body. Like being abused is trauma. Mm-hmm. Being in a car accident is trauma. Being witnessing a murder, those are traumas.
Yeah.
But now trauma is a breakup. Now trauma is I lost my luggage and the airline lost my luggage. And now trauma is my parents wanted me to be an engineer and I, I felt pressure. And, okay. So when that happens, here's the problem is that then everything kind of rises to the level of abuse. Everything.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, your parents were too emotionally involved. They were not enough emotionally involved. They were not, and there's no freedom in that to accept reality of how humans are flawed and relationships are always flawed.
For sure.
Right. So there's this. That's part of what's driving the movement.
Right.
It's also a little bit of social contagion, and you know what I mean by that is that there are certain movements like there was a movement back in the day of like repressed memories, which is, and there was a movement back in the day of multiple personality disorder, which by the way, I think there is that, but that like,
it's not
back in the 80s, it was like everybody had multiple personality disorder.
It was a big deal.
I've in 35 years, I've had one client with multiple personality disorder. Okay. Like it's a thing, but it's not
rare. It's rare.
So that was a whole social contagion. You put that out in the water and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I think that's whatever. So this is in the water now, and now it's sort of like it's opening up. Oh, well, my parents were. My dad was kind of emotionally aloof. Yeah. Like I don't need that.
Right.
All right. So
got it.
And then two more points, and then we'll talk it through. There's a certain irony that when parents provide for their kids and give them things that allow them to be independent and have the potential to cut off their kids, then that gets used against them. Right. It's sort of an irony of privilege. It's like the support that made this kind of independence possible is now retroactively sort of thought of as a form of control or a thing that you have to kind of break from that you don't need now. That kind of thing. Right. All right. And then the last point, and then we'll talk it all through, is that I think the culture is so divided and there's such kind of heat and intensity around cultural issues and political things that that is also an aspect of what's driving this, at least in part, where it's like, well, my parents have this station on 24/7 and that's all they talk about.
That's all they listen to.
And I don't want to be exposed to that. I don't want my kids exposed to that.
Sure.
Or, whatever it might be. And that there's some legitimacy to that.
Sure.
Right. That's not illegitimate, but that's a big piece of what's happening culturally.
Yes.
That's driving this. It's like
the political divide is big.
The political divide is big, and it is often where there's a generational divide where kids are saying that I cannot be okay with this mindset toward fill in the blank issue. Right. Right. I don't want to get overly drilled down on the specific issues, but you get the idea of that. Yeah. It's so the politics are an accelerant for that, and legitimately so. Yeah. So that's the sort of bundle of stuff that's out there. I think it is a phenomenon that's being driven by social media and unfortunately by some therapists. Just because a therapist has got a lot of followers on TikTok doesn't mean they're good, by the way. It probably means they have a lot of time on their hands. Just making a comment here.
Just to clear something up.
They'd probably be full. If their schedule, they're spending all that time having 200,000 followers or whatever it is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Putting out content, man.
But there is this sort of movement.
Yeah.
Part of the movement includes, this is recap, part of the movement includes an expanded definition of what harm really is.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a social contagion element of like, oh yeah, like, did you ever take they used to call it abnormal psychology, they still may, class? Did you ever take that?
I think I did.
Where they talk about diagnosis.
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
You think of everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like ADHD.
Oh,
I have
that.
ADHD.
Yeah.
I have social anxiety. I have,
Yeah.
right. You think,
Yeah.
because everybody has a whiff of everything.
Right.
I have OCD. I like to set
whiff of
the
everything.
knife and fork exactly right. But all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is a similar thing. It's like
cars.
if you hear somebody enough times talk about your parents are emotionally unavailable or they were controlling or this and that, you start reflecting on those kinds of things in a way that reframes experience.
Yeah.
And so, and then we're living in a divided culture that then I think there's a generational divide that very much makes this, it's gasoline on the fire.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I talked a lot there. So your reaction about any of that or questions or
it makes
thoughts?
sense. I'm not on social media enough to even know that.
Yeah.
So that's also part of my ignorance to what you're talking about.
And even if I can interject, even young adults who aren't immersed in social media, they're in relationship with other people who are. And that's part of it too, is they might not be seeing that on social media, but they're talking to somebody at a brewery who's like, my parents were controlling and and they're, I need to cut them off. And then you start going, my parents were,
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with, again, what you're saying is how I would define controlling, or and it becomes this subjective scale of, and it feels like it's damaging to me, or it feels like these things. So rather than just say, hey, can we have a conversation around this? It moves into, I'm just done. And I think this also, that's where I thought you were going with this, also speaks to the inability of people in current, I would argue, in my exposure with people face to face, is that they don't know how to disagree well. They don't know how to enter into conflict. They don't know how to enter into it in such a way that it brings resolution. So it's better to avoid it or accommodate it, and just it's easier for me than if I just don't have contact with you, rather than say, hey, can we have a conversation around? And I think the other part of it is, and from the parent side, is if you came to me, if one of my kids came to me and said, hey, this hurt my feelings, or this isn't how I want to be in relationship with you, my response to that would be, let's work on this. Let's do it better. Let me not do that anymore, or for whatever reason. And so I think what's lost is the art of, let's have a conversation around this.
Partly. Yeah, I do.
And I do think social media is part of that problem.
Yeah, I would agree that some of it is losing the willingness and the skill and the art of the tough conversation. Some of it, though, is I've talked to people who said I've tried to have these conversations and they're impossible. And I'll make this point that on TikTok, and it's probably on Facebook, there's an account, I think it's called Necessary Conversations, and it's a young adult, he's probably in his 30s, and his sister have conversations with the dad and the mom, who are very, like, let's say, very different politically than they are.
Yeah.
And the dad is the most impossible human in the world.
Okay.
He is impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, he is.
Yeah.
And so what they're trying, I think, to model is
how to have
that we're just trying to have conversations, even with people who are impossible.
Yeah.
Right. So I like that in principle. I do think there's a point where you're like, we're not going to have a conversation, or it's not going to go anywhere, or what's right. So it's that too, is sometimes you do reach a point where you're like, it's fruitless to like it.
And it could go the other way as well.
Yeah. Right.
So it could, the parent's like, hey, let's have a conversation. And the adult child is like, this is what I'm doing. Like, okay. And then this is the part where I think the Christian faith has not done us any favors.
Yeah.
Is said that, from you have to obey me, from the parent, or you have to do what I tell you to do. There becomes this controlling element because God made me your parent. And so now I'm going to exercise that authority over you, and it just drives them further away.
Yes.
And that I think where the church needs to adjust to this place where when your child's an adult, they're responsible.
Yeah.
And move into a place where you go, look, I see this heading down a path that is not healthy for you. But let's talk about where it goes, not where you're at. And I think the only other Christian, there's a bunch of them, but that faith applies here is there an understanding of what it means to truly forgive someone? Can I enter into this? Because we've all done things to our kids that we go, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. And unless you're the perfect parent out there that never has done anything wrong, there is a learned behavior from an authority figure to someone. When my kids were little and I screwed up, I went to them and said, look, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I should not have done this.
Good. But that's the burden on the parent.
Right. But if you've now created that possibility and modeled that to the child somewhere along the line, it comes back.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
It can. I don't know if there's a
guarantee.
Not every,
I don't know what the odds are, but if there is that open door of, oh, my dad's not unreasonable or my mom's not unreasonable, there has been moments in their lives where they've said, I'm wrong.
Yeah. What I would agree with is I don't know that the outcome is guaranteed, but it is still the right thing to do.
Right. That's where I think faith comes in.
That's it.
That's where parenting an adult is also, you have to differentiate your faith from their faith. That's the other part that I think people struggle with, is my faith isn't my kids' faith. When they became adults, they had their own faith, and how they exercise that and how they go about having a relationship with God now is on them. It's not on me. And so I can't take it personal when they choose to do things I wouldn't do.
Perfect. You hit either a oil well or a pus pocket. One of the two. You hit a gusher. And I'm gonna
go.
Say, no. One of the things that you're saying in that I think we need to acknowledge, and this is important. This is really important for this podcast in particular. Is those of us who grew up in this Christian subculture.
Yeah. That's a good word for it.
There are a lot of parenting models that claim to be the biblical model,
God's
parenting,
way.
Parenting kids God's way.
Yeah.
That, to be honest, are really awful and have negative, horrible impact on people.
Right.
And the idea that we are blameless if we're, if for people who have parented that way.
Yeah.
And then their kids later don't want anything to do with them.
Right. Or their faith.
Right.
Yeah.
There needs to be an ownership and a reflection on that.
Yeah.
They may have been well-intentioned and think they were doing parenting kids God's way, but they were being very coercive and punitive and controlling and awful.
Manipulative.
And and we need to put that all out there that is all true and it was bad.
Yeah.
Now, does it always rise to the level of trauma or abuse? Not always, but it can.
Yeah.
It could.
Sure.
But that's part of what we're seeing in the church with families that are struggling. And by the way, I'm not saying because someone is a Christian whose their kids are estranged from them that they did something wrong.
Right.
Because sometimes, my experience, I've talked with parents and the kids where I don't know. I think it's just a misalignment or a mismatch or different things going on. But there is a lot of stuff that has happened. There has been a lot of stuff that has gone on in the name of good biblical parenting that's just awful.
Yeah. And there's also a bunch of influencers. There's one that went to jail because of the way that they parented their kids, and they were supposed to be some kind of parent expert.
Happens a lot.
Yeah. So the picture of parenting that I think speaks to this is the prodigal. The son goes, "Give me my stuff. I'm out." Talking about cutting your dad off, and I'm going to go and squander everything you gave me.
Yeah.
That's a picture of and the father was perfect. I mean, father is God in this story, and yet people choose to do things where they cut off people.
They do.
And there sometimes isn't jack you can do about it.
Yeah. So I want to leave with a thing for parents and a thing for young adult kids.
Great.
All right. So for the young adults, I'm going to say this is, if you've grown up and there was abuse and there was really bad mistreatment, and it's not just like my parents were disappointed with me, or they were they wouldn't let me out when other people were, all the things. I've heard a lot of those things. If it's beyond that, it is okay to set boundaries and limits and to cut off when you need to. So please hear that.
Yeah.
But if it is just like they were imperfect parents, the better place to get to, and I'm going to make the case for why, but the better place to get to is to have, the term that we've used here is dialectical. Have a dialectical view of your parents, which is, dialectical is the ability to hold two contradictory things as being true at once. Is like, was my dad a controlling, emotionally distant, angry guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Was my dad a person who loved me and wanted good things for me and didn't know how to express it, but provided for the family? Yes.
Yes, he was.
And both those things can be true.
You're describing my dad.
Okay. Is Kevin's dad this? Was he this? Right.
Yeah.
And to be able to go like, both those things are true, and I can hold those things, and I don't have to idealize or avoid the fact that there was a downside. I don't have to have this ideal view of him, but I also don't have to have this demonized, villainized view of him. And I can enter into him into a relationship with a person who is flawed.
Yeah.
It's a flawed human.
Yeah.
And then set the boundaries where you need to. Yeah. If he's going to blast a certain TV station on while you're there all the time and you don't want to be exposed, then don't be exposed to it. That's fine. Yeah. But define where the boundaries are rather than just have this just severe cutoff. And here's the reason why I say this. I have the perspective of, when people go to this extreme when they're younger and they cut off their parents in a way that maybe the reason fell short of this really more extreme stuff, is that later it really has a negative impact on them.
Yeah.
It has a negative impact in terms of their own well-being, on their kids, on the limits on their family, on all kinds of, like, there's a big downside to it.
Yeah.
It's not something you want to do unless you need to do it.
Right.
If you need to do it, do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I'd say hold a dialectical view, have good boundaries within that.
Yeah.
For the parents, I would say to underline Kevin's point, which is, even if the outcome is not what you hoped for, you're not guaranteed an outcome.
No.
Take the position of, I want to either ask for forgiveness, or I want to make myself open and vulnerable to feedback and really mean it.
Yeah.
Don't say something like, if there's anything I've ever done to, like, because that feels like I have no awareness of this, or I don't own this at all.
Right.
And if there is, then okay.
Yeah.
Like, say, if you can call out something and say, I think I was more controlling than I should have been. I wish I was more available, or I wish I was.
Yeah. Wish I was kinder. I wish I was whatever.
Right.
More patient, more gracious.
If you can own that, then you have a better chance of getting back in the game. You may not get back in the game, but you
got a chance.
We always say, are you keeping your side of the street clean? Right?
Right.
Are you sweeping your sidewalk? Right? Are you keeping your side of the street clean?
Yeah.
And that's your responsibility. And I think that applies
as much as it depends on you.
Right.
Yeah.
And particularly in general, but also in Christian community and faith communities with Christian parents.
And I'll add one more thing.
Go for it.
And the question I ask myself every once in a while, and I've asked parents of adults who are estranged from their kids, I ask them this question: is it more important for you to be right or be in relationship with your kid?
Good one.
And if it's more important for you to be right, forget it.
Right.
I think you've lost the battle.
You're sunk. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're willing to be wrong, and you don't have to hold your rightness, and you want to be in a relationship with your adult children, I think it works.
Yeah. And to comment on that too, there is still in Christian community and Christian culture, this idea that you have to put this stake in the ground around truth and you can't bend on that. And I'll be honest, I'll take it up with God.
Yeah, when I get there.
But I am willing to choose relationship over other things with my kids.
And I think
even if
I think he was willing to choose relationship over sin.
Right.
Because he died for our, he chose relationship with us over our sin.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And that's how I view my kids is like there might be all kinds of things that I have different opinions on or different things about what they're doing or not doing.
Yeah.
My goal is to stay in the game as much as I can.
Yeah.
With them and to choose the relationship over the the rightness or having to stake out some position or whatever it might be.
And when they invite you in, don't be demanding. Don't be, I was right. Just, and pray for them. Pray for them.
Yep.
Pray for them.
There you go. There we go.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Journey on My Mind. If you enjoyed it, please help us spread the word by leaving us a review and sharing it on your social media. Journey on My Mind is a production of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee. Edwin Rivera III is the show's producer with technical assistance from Randy Hansen. Grant Opperman edits the show. If you have a suggestion for a future topic or a question, you can text us at 615-861-9503. And if you would like to talk to someone about spiritual or mental health issues, you can email our care pastor, Sam Barnhart, at sam@journeytn.com.